Okay, hello, and here we are again on GoToWebinar. I'm just motioning with my mouse. I'm kind of trying to take up a little bit of time, just in case anyone is still trying to connect to audio. My name is Samuel Martin. I'll be your presenter for class training today. Just give me a moment. All right. Okay. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that we are currently on lands that have been inhabited by humans for at least the last 40,000 years. I'm currently on the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, although that's just one tiny part of a vast continent and a large collection of islands surrounding it. All of the First Nations peoples of this land deserve our respects, and I'd like to take this chance to pay those respects now. I'd like to make special mention of elders, whether they be past, present, or emerging, and I'd like to note that these lands were never ceded and that sovereignty has never been extinguished. Okay, just a little bit of housekeeping. Using this software, you won't be able to unmute yourself. If you have a question you would like answered, you can submit that question in the questions section of your control panel, and this session will be recorded. We will attempt to get this on our website within about a week. Okay, so welcome to class training for today. A little bit of background. Sort of late last year-ish, around that time sometime, we released a major update to class. It was called Release 7. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, not all of that release was rolled out at that time. Earlier this year, we made another fairly substantial update to class, and we called that one Release 7.5. I'll be taking you through both of those today, but I just want to make a really quick note. Both of those releases include quite a few changes to custom templates. If you don't know what I mean when I say custom templates, that's probably a good thing. You can ignore this next bit. If you do know exactly what they are and you use them and you want to know what the changes to them are, we won't be going through those in today's session, mostly because not a lot of people use the custom templates. They're also pretty tricky. I don't understand them myself. We also have a training session for custom templates on our website, and I will go through the release notes that we have on our website later as well. So if you do want to know what the changes to custom templates were, they are in the release notes on our website. Okay, so an overview of this session. So with Release 7, there's quite a few things to go through here. Fields that are in Multiselect. There's a few settings that I need to go through with you. The S11 report, there was a change or two made to that report that I'll take you through. We've got a brand new DIY report, and I'll go through editing custom security roles. As for Release 7.5, there's things like keywords. If you don't know what IRT is, that stands for Informations, Referrals, and Triage, or triages. There's some changes there. Custom fields, email notifications. Now, just give me a moment. I believe I have a note on this. Okay. So I'm just going to pause here because I won't actually be going through that bit later. Email notifications when report statuses change. I'll just be mentioning this now quickly. This has to do with accountability. So if you do accountability at your center, and if you want email notifications when the status of a report changes, there's a setting that needs to be updated, or the setting needs to be correct for you to get those email notifications. You can contact us at the help desk if you would like to. If you are an SPM, there are changes that may need to be made for you as well, for you to get those emails also. SPLs should know how to contact us. The DIY reports changes, that was not technically part of release 7.5. In fact, that was only released to class yesterday, but we figured we'd take this moment to go through those as well. I'll pause now just to let you know that our facilitator for this session is Alex Ariti, and we've also got Oliver Moore, both from the ICT team here at CLCs Australia, assisting us on this session today. Big thanks to both of them. Okay, release 7. Let's start with the simple stuff. Several fields are now multi-select. Let me show you which ones they are. Okay, this is class. So I've got, I did a search for a client before, and I opened this client. That's open to the client's services. Excuse me while I'm clicking around a bit. Okay, so this is a client record. It's just a basic client record, bit of dummy data in here. As I'm sure you're all aware, this is our, for anyone who's not, this is our instance of class. And there's no real client data in here, so you won't be viewing any confidential information today. Okay, let me click back to these client services, and I actually already have one open, excuse me, and excuse me again while I'm still clicking around. Okay, so here's a service for that client we just saw. So here's one of our fields here, disability discrimination area. This one has been changed in release 7.5. Before release 7.5, this was a single select, just like that field there. This is now multi-select, so you can select multiple responses to that one field. And there's a few others. Let me show you how they work. I'm going to jump into the problem types because these ones are all dependent on a particular set of problem types. Let me put in here social. So for the social security problem types, there's a field in there. I'm just going to select one at random. If any of your services have one of those problem types, you get a whole bunch of new fields. Let me find them for you. They're down here in the problem type details. So under here, payment and entitlement type. That one's now multi-select. Rate and payability also multi-select. And the other two are eligibility qualification and debits and recovery. So those are the fields that are now multi-select. You can select multiple responses for all of those 5 fields now. Okay, so that's kind of the simplest stuff out of the way nice and quickly. Okay, I'm kind of just pausing a little bit just to give people time to read that sentence. I tried my hardest to shorten that, but couldn't really. Okay, so prior to release 7, we had a set of settings that would allow you, if they were switched on, they could be switched on. You can switch them back off, on or off, whatever you like. Prior to release 7, the settings would allow you to delete things like names and additional parties. I was supposed to have, just give me a moment, I'll show you the settings. I was supposed to have done this previously, but I'm a little underprepared today. Hopefully that'll be the last thing that I didn't prepare. Okay, so these settings would allow you to delete the things like names, additional details, things like that, I think. When you save a service as an information or a referral, if you had these settings on, you wouldn't normally get to see these settings, but here they are, these ones, and they're not very well named. Those ones there will delete the client name, additional parties, notes if you want, and additional details. So in release 7, we added a bunch of new fields because if you converted a service from a triage to an information or a referral, that information wasn't deleted. So if you want these settings changed for your center, contact the help desk. I'll be showing you how to do that if you're unaware already how to. at the end of this session, and you can tell us how you want these settings set up for your center. Okay, so that's that one. Yep, moving on. Okay, a couple of changes to reports in release 7. The S11 report. So previously, you needed to have the 30th of July in your date range for the report to even work. So we've removed that. You don't need that anymore. If you're running the S11 report, you can use whatever date range you want. One thing to mention there is that if your date range covers a couple of different financial years, so if there's the last month of a particular financial year and then the first month of the next financial year, it will add up the targets for both of those financial years. So it will just add up the targets for however many financial years are in your date range. Okay, so that's the S11 report. We've also got a brand new report. Nothing for this existed previously, so we added this to class. The report is called DIY Project Service, and we'll go and have a look at that one. I'll have to flick back over here. Okay, reports. Okay, here's our list of reports. I'm going to do a quick search for the DIYs, and I'm going to have a look. I should know where this is. Again, I'm a little underprepared. DIY Project Service. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so if you're aware of the DIY reports and the naming conventions, you will already know that this report will take the fields from the project screen and the project service screen. So if you need to get data from those two fields, you can use this brand new report to do that. This also relates to the DIY reports changes that I will be going through later. Okay, so editing custom security roles. Okay, so this is not a major change. This didn't quite actually work properly before release 7. So basically what we did was fixed it. I'll show you what it is and how it works. So click on System Settings, and then you've got roles here. Roles. This is something I haven't used myself much, but what you can do is set up custom roles. So our standard ones are things like Class Admin Advanced, and then you've got General Staff Access or Volunteer. But you can actually add custom ones. So something like General Staff No Access to Projects. So that's pretty self-explanatory. That's the General Staff role, except it's been slightly customized, and it looks as though it's been customized so that access to community projects has been removed from this role. Previously, what was happening is if you tried to make an edit to this, just anything, I'm not actually going to save this, it's just a demonstration. If you made an edit to it, what you needed to do was to hover over the custom. I think you had to clear the view customizations or something like that, and then you could save it. If you just tried to make the change to it and then save it, it wasn't working. People noticed that you had to do that, use that little workaround before you could save it. You no longer have to do that. This now works as intended. This was mostly just a little demonstration of this system, so you know that it exists. Okay, I'm actually getting through this much faster than I thought I would. We're coming up to release 7.5 now, so I might actually pause here and ask Alex if there are any questions that I can field as of yet.
Hi, Sam. No questions yet. Everybody, if you want to ask a question, please make sure you're popping those into the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I haven't done a completely test run of this session yet. I was expecting this to take 90 minutes, but I'm not sure now. We might get through it in a bit less than that. Okay, we're moving on to release 7.5 now. Again, starting with the simple stuff, keywords. Let me show you this one, like so. Okay, so here's our class. I'm just going to close a couple of things. We don't need that anymore, nor that. Okay, let me go to class and click new intake and show you the keywords. So these are now available as of release 7.5. There are actually two of them. We've got the service keywords here, the service keywords field there, and then the client keywords field up here. Okay, one thing to note here is that there is a cap on the length, the character length of these keywords. You probably don't need to be worried about it. I think it's set at something like 200 characters. So if you had a keyword that was over that, you'd probably put that into the notes anyway, just in case anyone needs to know. If you do go over that character length cap, and you try and save this service at step 3 of intake, you may get a pop-up saying that your keyword is too long. Class will then actually add them to the client notes or the service notes or something like that, so they don't actually get deleted or anything like that. Those keyword fields are now available for you to use if you would like them. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, Sam, just before you go on, we have had a question come through. Can you show us how the project report works?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that. Do I have it open still? I do not. Reports, project service. Okay. So the project service report, I'm just kind of making this up off the top of my head. If you wanted to find data using this report, you might be looking for something like the project ID. Then you might want to know all of the services inside that project. Then you might want to know, and I'm just kind of making this up. This is all very much just a demonstration. If anyone does want help using this report, by all means, please contact us at the help desk. Maybe you want to know what funding category is selected on each of those project services. You could add something like that. Close this. Give me a moment to really quickly throw some data into this report. That should about do it. A couple more clicks, and then hopefully we'll load some data into that report. So this is the brand new report, and this is what it can do for you. From here, we can see that we've got this project ID, with something like project number 18. We've got 3 project services inside there. I've just realized this is not telling us a great deal, so maybe what we might like to do is find the name of the project. I don't know where that field is though. I did not set up a demonstration of this report. Apologies for that. Let me try something like this. Committee name, that's not what I want. Title. There we go. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay, now we can see we've got project 18, we've got 3 services inside that project, and now we can see, again, I should probably mention this is all dummy data. You probably wouldn't set up your projects like this to have 3 reports, sorry, 3 project services inside of a single project. Maybe this would be something like 2018, 2019, and 2020. That would make more sense, and then you can see what the funding category is on all of those reports. Let me see if we can find some numbers. They will be down here. Yeah, you can. So you can find the number of projects or the number of project services. Again, I'm kind of making this up on the fly, and we'll see what kind of data we get from this, and we could guess all of this. But if you wanted to get numbers for something using this report, that is how you would do that. You would add the number of projects or the number of project services up there in the drop data items here field. Rambling and vague training, that's sounding familiar. Anyway, okay. So I hope that's been a reasonable demonstration of that report. Please let me know if it hasn't. And if you have any other questions, and I will definitely do what I can to answer those questions.
Hi, Sam.
Yeah, hi, Alex.
Can you show us a project service title, not just project title?
Project title, let me see.
Project service title, not just project title.
Right, so that's the project title. And then we'll see if we can add the project service title. Project service. What would that be? I should do. It looks like I'm not finding that field in here. Project service, target audience detail, project service type. I'm not seeing project service title. That could be a good question for the help desk. If someone could take the name of the person who asked that, and we'll have a bit of a closer look at this report and see if we can figure that out for you.
And I've also got a couple of questions about keywords for you too.
Yes, sure. What are those questions?
What are the keywords used for, and would it be more for DIY reporting?
So to answer that one, I can't really give you a definitive answer to that one. Keywords are kind of there for centers to use however they want. I think the demonstration that we give is that I think sometimes people have a client keyword. You could add something like blue tie. This client always wears a blue tie, so you could add a keyword for that. It's not a great sort of demonstration, but you can use the keywords for anything you want. Unfortunately, the keywords don't actually work great with the DIY reports. Again, this is something that could be a discussion had with the help desk to figure out how the keywords could work for your center. I hope that's somewhat of an answer for that question.
And we've got another couple of questions. Also for keywords, are you able to select from a list of previously used keywords, or are we trusting users to type it correctly?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the answer to that is that we're trusting users to type them correctly, which I know is not ideal. I don't believe there is any way to set up defaults or anything like that. I mean, it's not a field you would set a default in. I'm fairly sure there's not really a way to set up the field with options either. The keywords field is really tricky because we have such a wide variety of centers around the sector. There's so many different types of centers who do such a variety of work. It's really hard to make that field work for everyone. If you do want that field to work better for your center, again, the help desk can definitely help you do that. I hope that's kind of a reasonable answer for that question as well.
We've got a couple more on keywords.
Yep.
Can you pull reports on the amounts of clients with selected keywords?
Yes, I would think you can. I don't really want to go messing with that right now. Again, another question for the help desk. If we could maybe get some contact details for that person and get back to them about that on the help desk too. That would be great. I'll set this up for something for a little bit later in the session. So, yeah. Apologies, I won't be going through that today, but we will definitely help you with that if you would like. Are there other questions?
That's all I've got for now, but we did have a little comment about the project title one, and it may be that you're looking for a project service activity type.
Project service.
Activity type.
Yep, there it is there. So I've got project service type. I will drop project service activity type in there. I haven't got any data in there. That's not helping us, is it? That may be it. Project service title. Let me try one more thing. That's not it. No, I'm not finding it. Yeah, we can definitely get a very definitive answer to that question, perhaps later in the day or maybe tomorrow.
Sorry, Sam. Do you mind if I just jump in here really quickly because I've got the answer? So the answer is that there is no project service title field. There's no space for that to be recorded, so it's not visible in the list. There are a few different ways you can record a title using the fields that are available. One way is to do it using project service activity type, like you've pulled up here. And another way to do it would be, as someone else suggested, writing in the keywords. Cool. So hopefully that clears that up.
Thank you for that, Oliver. Another option would be to use a custom field. Not sure if that's ideal or not, but that would be another option as well. Okay, I hope that answers that question. Are there other questions, Alex?
No, just a few more folks wanting to add to their names to the follow-up list about keywords. If you'd like us to get in touch with you about keywords, please just let us know. We're keeping a list.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, so I'm just going to step back. Keywords, right? Okay, so we've made changes to the way informations, referrals, and triages work. You can now add those to existing clients. A lot of people had said this was a pretty major flaw in the system, so this now works for you. I will demonstrate that just so you can see that. So I had intake open. I showed you the keywords. Okay, I'm going to really quickly step through this. Okay, I'm going to make an individual. This name may be familiar to some of you, and I'll step through this process as quickly as possible. I better make this, let's make this a triage. Okay, that's not really going to work without, I was testing something. Never mind that. Not really going to work without a service type, so I'll add one of those. Okay, now I'll step through step 2 of the process to step 3 of the process. It's carried the name across. I'll hit search, and I have a few clients in here with this same name. I'm going to pretend this client already exists, is an existing full client, and I would like to add this new triage service to this existing full client. I'm simply going to click there, and I will make a note just really quickly of the client ID. It's 509. Okay, so I'm going to click existing client. No, I don't want the details to be saved as the primary details, so I'll save them as additional details this time. Make your selection as you see fit. My result type, so this is the result type for the conflict check. So we're saying this is an existing client, so you select that, add a note if you want, probably not necessary. I'm going to click save and close. And I've just realized we may find a couple of those services existing for that client. but I will show you that that record should be in the list of triages because that's a triage service. Come on, hurry. Apologies for the slowness of this. Here we go. Here we go. That might be it. That's not it. Or is it? Well, that's the one. Open date should be today, 13th. That will be it there. Yeah, so that's the client. I just actually, what I'll do is click on this service ID. So I'm pretty sure that's the service I just added in just now. So there's the service that I just added just now. And here's the client name. I'm just going to click over here and hopefully we'll see that this client is, or actually already open, but never mind that. The client ID is 509. So if I come over to client services, we'll see that a triage service, open date, where is it? Let me read, because I already had that open. Hopefully this will work. And we've got the new service open today, the triage service. So there we just added a new triage service to an existing full client. So that's now available to you. I do have a couple of notes about this. So there is one caveat to this. So triage services still can't be added to a non-client. So if you wanted to do something like come over your non-clients, find one of these clients, someone who's only had informations and referrals, or maybe they're the only service they've got is in triage and you want to add a second one for them, and you want to open one of these clients and add a new triage service, that doesn't work. What you could do is a bit of a workaround is add the second service, add them as a second non-client, because you can now, what you can do now is merge non-clients. You can also convert that person to a full client if you wanted to do that. Okay, any questions on that?
Sorry, Sam, I was having trouble unmuting. Can you add further info and referrals to non-clients?
Good question. I don't even know the answer to that. Actually, yes, I do. Thanks for the question. You can't really do that because, at least I don't think you can. The only way to do that would be to open the non-clients list, find your client, come over to client services. However, when you do that, there's no button here to add a new service to them. It just simply doesn't exist. So that's not going to work, unfortunately. But what you can do is merge clients. Yeah, I probably should have tested adding a new service, an information or a referral to a non-client through new intake. I suspect that you can't add new services through new intake to non-clients. At least I think that's the answer to that question, which unfortunately is no. Okay. Sorry about that. And again, the help desk is there for you if you want changes made to class, if you want to discuss these things with us. Okay. Any other questions on that? Or should we move on?
There are a few more questions, but I think Ollie's on to them at the moment.
Great. Thanks, Alex, and thanks, Ollie, as well.
No worries.
Okay. IRT workflow changes, custom fields. Okay. So we've added them to several new places in class. If you like custom fields, you can add them in actions, additional parties, and project service actions. I'll demonstrate that. Okay, so here we have, I'm going to click over here, a service. We've got a service open. We'll go over to the actions of this service. Excuse me. We'll open that action. Once that action opens, we'll come over to customize and then click on customize view. to bring up the customize screen. And as you can see here, we've got custom fields there. If you click on there, you can add custom fields like this test one. Probably wouldn't recommend setting up this one. Does this work? Our answer to you is on that is yeah. You can now add custom fields to actions. So if you want something in here, something like solicitor to review, supervisor to review, if you want a custom field in here, there they are. They will appear in your actions now. Just give me a moment. Project service actions. Again, much the same. If we went to community, project services, open up a project service. It's essentially the same process. You simply go to the customize screen, and it should. I'm just going to go yes. Sorry, Oliver. I'm going to make changes to the record you're editing. Okay. Open this action, and then you can add custom fields to this. Just go by going to the customize screen as well, and there they are. Your custom fields. If you want to add that custom field, feel free. Not sure I recommend that one either. Additional parties. Okay, let me show you this one. I need to close a few windows. Close, come on. Okay, where's my client? What am I doing? Additional parties. I might need a service for that. Close this action. I'll go back to the service details. No, I won't. I'll come over to the additional parties. Okay, so we've got our additional parties here. I just set this one up a little while ago to demonstrate that once you open your additional parties here, if you've got one, you can just come to customize, customize view, and there they are again, your custom fields. So when you are looking at first additional parties custom field, there's our custom field there. There it is. So what was I going to say? If you're wondering kind of how you set up custom fields, so for any of these things I've demonstrated today, something like additional parties, you can open any additional party. So just open any service, anyone will do. Open the additional parties, and then you can come over to the customize screen, and that will allow you to add your custom fields. Once you do that, your custom fields will appear for every additional parties screen you open, or if you add additional parties to your actions or your project service actions. It's the same thing. You can open any one, come over to the customize screen, add your add your custom fields, and they will appear for all of those, whatever they are, whether they be actions, additional parties, or project service actions. Okay, that's pretty much how that works. Any questions on that one, Alex?
We've got a few questions.
Okay, then I'll skip back.
Will we be able to search for these fields, or pull a report that will tell us related parties that are passed up?
Yes, thank you for that question. The answer is yes to that. You can add them to DIY reports, which I'm going through a bit later. So they are available in the reports, and you can use them there. A quick demonstration as well, if you come into search services, let's try this, and we'll see if we can add. You can come to customize columns. You may find your custom fields in here. I'm not sure if the action ones appear in there, but you can do a DIY report to get the data on your custom fields. Was project service actions, additional parties. Not sure if you're going to be able to search for those using things like search clients or search services. Not 100% sure, but my guess is probably not, but you can use DIY reports to get the data on those custom fields that you do set up. I hope that's a reasonable answer to that question as well. Any other questions, Alex?
That's all I've got for you for now.
Great, thanks, Alex. Okay, let's move on. Give me a second. Apologies for that. Okay. And I just mentioned before, I'll just mention again now, I will be mentioning this again in the DIY report stuff that is coming up in just a moment. In fact, I think it might be next. Yes, it is. Okay. We're getting pretty close to the end, although I've just realized there's a bit more to get through. But we've gotten through some of it, so that's good. Okay, the DIY reports changes. Okay, so one of the main reasons we did this is that this will speed up your DIY reports. So there was a thing where fields that are multi-select, as I was saying before, there's a bunch of fields that are now multi-select. It turns out that those multi-select fields were really slowing down the DIY reports. So we've changed the DIY reports. So now the way they work is that they're not querying on any of those fields that are multi-select. So that speeds up the reports significantly. One of the main benefits of that is that if you want to run reports with larger data sets, and what I mean by that is that if you want to run them with longer date ranges, so over several years or more, that may work for you now, whereas it probably wouldn't have before. Okay, so I've got the additional fields in the filter panel. That's actually very much related to what I was just talking about. And then we've got the active services thing. I'll go through that in a bit. Let's start with the additional fields in the filter panel. And this was the report that I had set up earlier. This one, which is a DIY service client, our workhorse DIY report. This is the one that is used probably 90% of the time in terms of DIY reports. Okay, so this is a pretty standard report. What I've put in here, for anyone who doesn't know what this is, I don't really have time to explain how the DIY reports work now. I'm kind of just going through the changes that we've made to them. So this report is a list report. It's listing service IDs, so all the service IDs. And then in here, I've thrown in the problem type, map type. As you can see, we've got the data in this column, service ID. We've got nothing in the problem type, map type. And that goes back to what I was saying about the multi-select fields. The problem type field is a multi-select field. So if you want to get data from a DIY report from now on, and you want problem type data in that report, or you want data from any of the multi-select fields, so you need to use this additional fields bit of functionality that we have now added to class, and I'll show you what it looks like and what it does. So in here we can see disability discrimination area and all of our other fields that are multi-select. So what I'm going to do is select problem type, and then I'll hit load report, and that will load all of that data into that column. So if you do get a column with absolutely no data in it, that may be the reason for it. I'm just going to do one more quick, that's right, that doesn't work. One more quick demonstration. The problem type. Okay, so I'll close that, close up some of this stuff so you can see a bit better. Okay, so I've just added the problem type field. as a column into this report. And if I scroll down, we can see that we've got some services. This is one service with one problem type, map type, and there are 4 problem types added to that one service. If I scroll down a little bit further, there's one here, or there should be one. Where is it? This one that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problem type map types and just as many problem types. So all of your multi-select fields are still in class, including problem type. It's just that you now need to use this functionality to load data into those fields. The trade-off for that is that these DIY reports now run much faster. Okay, so we've also got the active services thing that I mentioned before. So that is one of the additional reporting dates. So people were asking for this, so we've added it to the additional reporting dates. Again, if you don't know what these are, I can try to explain them quickly. So this one will only give you data for services that are marked as completed. So that'll be your discrete services, but for your representation services, they have to be closed and completed services. Service open date will find services with the open date set within the date range. Service close date has the close date within the date range. All open ongoing services will query date range. It'll find any services that have an open date within that date range but aren't closed yet. So now we've got active services. This is a new one. We just added this yesterday. So this and the multi-select fields, the additional fields thing that I just went through, these were added to class yesterday. And with them being so new, there are still a couple of teething problems. So with this new option, the additional reporting dates, the active services, we're probably going to get that renamed because that doesn't describe what it does very well. What it does is it gives you all of your core tribunal services, other representation services, and dispute resolution services with an open date prior to the start date of the report. So open date of the service is before this, and the close date is either after the start date or blank. Another little issue with this is that it doesn't include ongoing non-legal services. We suspect it should, and we're probably going to get this changed so that it does, and we're probably going to rename that to something like open at the start services, open at the start of the period. Yeah, so that's that one and how that works. Okay, any questions on that?
All open ongoing does not use the date range. It just pulls, sorry, it's just a very long question. It just pulls all currently open services. And can you demo the active services?
Okay, thanks for that clarification. I appreciate that. And demoing the active services. I haven't actually had time to test this myself. Let me see what I can do. Service ID, kind of winging this one. So we want something like the open date. Problem types aren't going to help us here, so I'll get rid of those. That didn't work. Okay. So I'm going to add something like, and I've just lost it, the open date, maybe the close date and service types or something like that. So open date, if this will work for me. Okay. All right, open date is not working. Why won't you? There we go. Okay. All right, and then I'll add the service type. And we'll see what we get. Okay. Okay, let me hit load report. Okay, so something I've just realized, something I wasn't aware of, is that the rolling date ranges don't seem to work for this. Let me do this manually. And we'll see how we go here. Okay, it looks like it's loading data. Okay, so 14th of the 4th, 2020. Okay, so as we can see, we probably won't find any services in here. In fact, we've only got 30 items, and all of the open dates for these services are before that particular date. Okay, I'll add the close date. And we should see, how does this work? I'm just going back to the counting rule on this. The close date is either after the start date or blank. I'm suspecting I'm not going to find any services in here with a close date just because of the quality of the data in our instance. Oh, there is one, very nice. Okay, so that is supposed to be either after the start date or blank. So the start date is the 14th of the 4th, and yes, that is after the start date, and all of the blanks are listed in there. So that's a bit of a demonstration of how that report works. One of the reasons you might want to use this report is to find services that are still opened, that haven't been closed yet. This is a reason. That's one of the reasons why you may use this option. Okay, I hope that is a reasonable answer for that question as well. Is there anything else at the moment, Alex?
I'm not Alex, but nope, looks all good.
Okay. Thank you, Oliver. All right. So, okay. I may have to do this if Alex is not available, but this hopefully will work. That's pretty much the DIY reports changes. Okay, so where we go to next, the first thing I need to discuss here is that I have several questions for you. So we're going to show you a few polls, and we're going to let's see what your responses to these questions are, which will, probably will direct the future of the DMS. And again, if you don't know what DMS is, that's the document management system. If you've seen any of my training sessions before, particularly the general user session, you will know that the document management system in class is not great. I'm trying to find like a service or something. Here's a service. I just want to demonstrate. When you click on this, it's not great. You can upload or delete documents. You can download them, edit them on your local machine. Obviously not ideal. And then re-upload them. So we are making changes to the document management system, and we want your feedback on how we should proceed with that. Excuse me. So we've got a few options. What we wanted is that when you click on that, you just get kind of like a SharePoint thing in here. If you don't know what that means, basically you would be able to you'll be able to store all of your documents right in here, and you can edit them in here as well. So that will remove the need for you to download them to your hard drive. Again, that not being ideal at all. So it turns out that that's pretty tricky. That the code to do that is not really going to work. I think that would bring in a fair bit of a performance hit to class if we tried to do that, which we definitely don't want. So we've got a few options. So when you click on this button, Documents, the option is you could get a pop-up window that pop-ups here. I'm just going to do a demonstration on that. Apologies for not getting that ready on time. The other option is it could open a new class, a new Chrome tab. So you get a brand new Chrome tab. It wouldn't look like this. It would be the document management system inside Chrome, and you can drag it over next to class if you want. So you could have your general class tab, and then you could have a class documents tab. Okay, so our first question is, would you rather a pop-up window or a new Chrome tab? And while I am waiting for people to start selecting their responses to that, I'm going to discuss some of the things that are coming up next. So next thing on the list is multi-factor authentication. And with this, it will change the way you log into class. The benefit for this is that you won't need a VPN anymore. For people who are center managers, class administrators, stuff like that, you won't have to manage VPNs anymore. Also for your solicitors who need class at a courtroom, a courthouse, or an outreach location, they won't need a VPN. They can access class anywhere they want, so long as they've got their phone with them, which they almost certainly probably will. That's coming up soon. We're hoping to roll that out by the end of the financial year, I believe. There is an issue with this being that there will be a couple of settings that you will need to change. For the center, and if that doesn't happen, you will actually lose access to class. So we'll make sure that everyone has those settings changed and up and running before we change over to the MFA system and remove the VPN system. So that you won't lose access to class. Okay, so we've got our result from that first question. The pop-up window is looking like let me just see if I can drag this across here. It's looking like pop-up window is about the most popular option there. Thanks for your responses. Okay. See if I can get the next one happening. So the next one is, okay. So whether you want a new window, a pop-up window, or whether you want a new Chrome tab, do you want it to open a new one every time you click on Documents? So let me demonstrate. You're working in class, you've got, this is a service open, you click on Documents, it opens either a new Chrome tab or a pop-up window. You go, here's your client, you go move away from that, you start working on a different client, forget you haven't closed this stuff, you click on Documents somewhere else for another client, another service, something like that. Do you want that to open in the same pop-up window or Chrome tab and replace what you had open, or do you want to open a new pop-up window and a new Chrome tab every time? It looks like that poll's actually closed. Okay. No, that looks like it may be open again.
Sorry about that. We've just fixed that up.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Yeah, so the options, if you could let us know what you prefer there. And I'll come on to the next thing here, NLAT changes. So the new agreement went through not too long ago, the National Legal Assistance Partnership. It was previously the National NPA National Partnership Agreement. So that's in place now. Because of that new agreement, we need to make changes to class. There are differences in the report, the data that needs to be reported because of those agreements. So we'll be making those changes to class. In the background, we'll probably notify you of what we have done when we get to that stage. Okay, so we've got almost three quarters of people have voted on that last poll. Just so you know.
Would you like me to share the results?
Yes, that'd be great. Thanks, Alex.
So it looks like an overwhelming response towards having a different tab or pop-up window.
Okay, great. All right. Glad to hear that. So let's move on to the third poll we got. And we'll get these ones out of the way. And I'll go over the last of it. So when you navigate away from the document screen, let me demonstrate. Okay, so you've got your documents open, and again, you move away, you click on, now I need to, I've done the documents, now I need to, additional parties, I need to do something there. You click on that. How do you want your pop-up window or tab, whatever we end up with, to behave? Do you want that to close, or do you want it to stay open? The options there being, once you navigate away, that closes. So you navigated away, that closed, that new pop-up, whatever we get. And then you're working on a different client, service, whatever it is. You click on documents again, that opens a new one for you. So if you can let us know what your preference for that is. Thank you very much. I'll just pop that closed and I'll go back to here. Data imports, yeah, this is our next thing. This has been a bit of a tricky project for us. I'm trying to find really diplomatic ways to say this. Yeah, this has been a long project that's been really tricky. So we're doing a lot of work in the background on this so that centers can just import large data sets straight to class without having to double enter into class and another system, whatever other system you may be using. So there's a lot of work happening there.
Are you ready for me to close this poll, Sam?
Yeah, sure, why not? I'm just going to really quickly mention user experiences, the UX changes that we're making to class. If you're interested in what those are, contact us at the help desk, and we'll let you know. There's quite a bit happening there. Yeah, so we'll be doing all of that in the background as well. Okay, do you want to share the results of that last poll, Alex? Okay.
Open your screens now. Unfortunately, when we were displaying the poll, it wouldn't let people see what you were demonstrating in terms of the document screen. So if you wouldn't mind re-demoing that, that'd be really great.
Yeah, sure thing. So here I have, this is a service open, and I've got the documents open. When you click on documents, it'll either pop up a new window or it'll open a new tab, and you can drag it across there. So you would have your main class tab and your documents class tab, and the document management system would live in there. So those are the two options there. And then if you navigate away from this service and you open something else, and then you come back to some documents, you click on that again. I think so what we could do is when you click on that again, because the overwhelming majority of people seem to want whatever it is, a pop-up window or a new Chrome tab to stay open. So that would remain open, and that would be your class documents tab, whether it's that or a pop-up window. That would just stay open. So when you click on the documents, that would then change what you're looking at inside that window, whatever type of window that is, to the new details of the new client service, whatever it is that you have clicked on. So that was that demonstration. Thanks everyone for their engagement in those polls. We got quite a few votes on those, so I'm really happy to hear that. That will probably almost certainly direct the future of the document management system in class, and I think there will be a few people in my team pretty excited about those results. Okay, so another thing that I need to mention here is that once all of this is completed, the document management system, MFA, LAP, data imports, UX, then we'll probably start working on release 8. Okay, so where to find documentation. Okay, so I can show you where you can find release notes for both of the releases I've taken you through today, both releases 7 and 7.5, and the DIY reports changes that we made yesterday. Okay, so here's class. I'm going to dive over to our website, and I was supposed to show you this before. Apologies for not doing that. Anyway, if you want information on the new DIY report that we've generated, the DIY project service report, we have a fair bit of information on that report on our website. It's not that easy to find. Actually, I'll show you where to find it if you want. So, if you come to our website looking for the release notes, you might click on class, come to the class documentation, which is where we store the release notes. And then in this right side navigation menu, we've got release notes in there. If you click on that, that will bring you to this page. And there's a few different releases that you can have a look at the notes for, including release 7, release 7.5, and improvements in DIY reports. Those are things that we have gone through today. There's a couple of other ones in there as well. I will show you release 7 because I'm pretty sure that's where the documentation for that report I just showed you is. And here's all of the all of the information about release 7 if you want to know more about this stuff. You can read the full write-up about the S11 report if you would like. There was a couple of typos that we fixed. This, I think, action printout templates. So there's a whole bunch of information in these web pages about the custom templates if you want to know them, and also known issues to these releases, and what has happened with those issues, most of them having been fixed. Now, if I'll just scroll back to the top of the page, so this is release 7, and if you wanted the information for that new DIY report, DIY project service, that new DIY report, and you want to know the information about it, you would click here, and that will take you through to there. Okay. So that's where you find documentation for those releases if you want to see those. If you want help with any of this, you would ask at the help desk, and you do that by clicking on help and support in that same right-hand column navigation menu. And we have the information for our support team in here. There's a little bit of basic information there. If you want to email the help desk, there's the email address to use, and we also have the new class portal. I'll just demonstrate that quickly, just for anyone who isn't aware of it. So this is our new class help desk portal. Once you come in here, you can keep track of your requests at the on the help desk up here by clicking that button. I'm not going to bother because I don't think I've got any in there. You would scroll down here if you want help. We support a couple of other systems on the help desk. Maybe you have some general kind of thing, some feedback, or maybe a clarification that, on something that may not relate to class. You can do that through our new help desk portal. So if it is about class and it's to do with one of these releases, you might click class and then something like customization maybe. I need some clarification about what was said in that training session. You might click on something like that. And then you can, as I said, keep track of your requests and you'll get a response from the help desk that way. And we also have the phone number. There it is if you want to call the help desk. We do listen to all of the voicemails that are left there. Okay, so I might just quickly ask Alex again. Are there any questions that could be handled at this time?
Hi, Sam. No, it looks like we're all good. We've got, it was mostly just a little bit of confusion around the poll, and I do apologize for the rocky poll experience this afternoon, having a bit of technology issues. But other than that, no questions at the moment.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, it looks like we can wrap up pretty soon. Yes, I should probably also apologize for those polls. I'm not sure that I wrote those perfectly. Anyway, okay, so thanks for being on this training session. I hope that helps. Those are the two releases, most of the information about them. Again, if you do want more information, if I haven't explained something well enough, if you're interested in custom templates, absolutely contact us on the help desk. Otherwise, hope you got something out of this today. There's a fair bit of new stuff in there, and hopefully that might help your centre work a bit more efficiently. Okay, so a big thanks to Alex Aridi and Oliver Moore for helping out on this session. I couldn't do this without the two of you. And thanks to everyone. Again, hope you got something out of this. And have a nice day, everyone. Have a nice afternoon. And thanks and bye from Community Legal Centres Australia.
Thanks, everyone.